as long as you believe in the work and do the work.
But first of all, I don't want to be your poster child.
Solidarity is critical to getting this done. Allies are important.
Show me that I provide value to the business.
Is just one more way that some have tried to diminish, dismiss, and disavow the reality of systemic racism.
Be with us in crisis as well as celebration, but be consistent about it.
Hello again. It is time for some more questions and some answers, and I'm going to be asking Kim this time. All right. As communicators, we are always in the business of telling stories, either ourselves or helping other people to tell them for the company, for the things we do internally, externally. When we tell stories, what are we talking about? What are we asking employees to share? Are we asking them to talk about what they do personally? We ask them to talk about work experiences, especially sort of in the DEI space. What are the kind of stories we want people to tell? What do we ask them to do?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. And it's something that kind of puts a burr in my fur sometimes, because it reinforces the paradigm of there's DEI stories and there's DEI over here. Then there's like our company stories, our business stories. Like, for example, and what that separation does is it keeps things separate, and it's actually not separate at all, right? You know, DEI is to be embedded within our business. It's all one. We are all one as human beings because we're doing a job, but as ourselves with the identities we bring to the job. So for example, if you have a safety story series, you talk about your safety policy, whatever it is, internally, externally, you know, hard hats, whatever it is, what can the people who are telling those stories bring to those stories about their personal experiences? On the flip side, you got stories around Black History Month. And so what can that person who's telling their personal story around lived experiences, social historical context, et cetera, and talking about how they're an engineer as well. So they don't have to be separate, and they shouldn't be separate in most occasions. So also the other thing I want to caution us is that make sure that we don't have these forced key messages that we put on the people that we're interviewing for the employee stories. So we don't want to approach the employees and say, here's what we'd like you to say.
Right.
A diversity report coming up, and these are our key messages. No. So if I read another employee story where it says, I belong at this company, I feel like I belong, I just don't believe.
You sound skeptical, Kim.
I don't.
You sound like you're not really buying that.
No, I'm not. And that's the point of our book, because we don't believe you anyway. So you need to have more depth in your storytelling, right? And that's what the book is about, is that 5-point model around bringing depth to your communications that includes your employee storytelling. Companies, organizations do not edit, out the voice and the personality and the rawness, the authenticity from which people can want to bring their stories to be visible, to be seen, heard, and valued. That's all any of us want. We need to not get in the way of that.
Exactly. And if you're worried about the stories that your employees are going to tell, then maybe you have a bigger issue. Maybe you should consider why you don't like those stories and fix that instead of trying to fix or change them.
And not every story is just always so positive and celebratory, right? Any kind of life experience, hero's journey, any narrative has ups and downs, overcoming obstacles. It's what you do with it. It's how you respond. It's the character from which you come from. So if it's just all positive, I'm not going to believe you as a candidate or as anyone else.
Exactly. Thanks, Kim.
You bet.